Most business owners are not personally exposed because they did something illegal. Most business owners are personally exposed because they misunderstood when systems decide who the business actually is. And the dangerous part is that decisions usually happens long before anything goes wrong. Not during lawsuits, not during audits, not during disputes, during normal days, during routine decisions, during moments that feel completely safe. In this episode, I'm going to show you where personal liability usually begins, how systems quietly decide where responsibility lives, and why most business owners never see the moment that decision gets made. Not because they're careless, not because they're reckless, because the decision doesn't feel dramatic when it happens. It feels normal. If you understand this, you stop guessing where risk attaches. If you don't understand this, you can run a business for years, thinking you're protected, and still find out later that the system never saw separation in the first place. The cheat code is not a shortcut. The cheat code is understanding how systems actually make trust decisions. Most people believe liability begins when something breaks. A contract fails, a payment defaults, a lawsuit appears, or maybe a regulator starts asking questions. But systems rarely decide liability during a crisis. They usually decide it during routine behavior observation. If responsibility consistently lands in the same place, systems stop asking where responsibility belongs. They assume they already know. If decisions always end with you, if money problems always resolve through you, if pressure situations always require you personally stepping in, then systems start treating you as the operational center of risk. Not emotionally, not morally, but operationally. Because systems assign risk based on repeatable behavior, not stated structure or paperwork. Structure on paper is descriptive. Structure in behavior is predictive. And systems care more about prediction than description. Imagine a service business. Imagine everything looks correct. Entity exists, bank account exists, contracts are signed under the business name, invoices go out under the business name. On paper, everything is separate. But in real life, every time a client gets nervous, the owner steps in personally to reassure him. Every time a large invoice is late, the owner personally negotiates payment. Every time cash flow gets tight, the owner personally covers the shortfalls to keep the operation smooth. Nothing breaks immediately. Years go by. Revenue grows. Confidence grows. The owner believes that separation exists because nothing has challenged it. Then one large contract fails, and suddenly the question becomes, was the business actually operating independently? Or was the owner always the final safety net? From the owner's perspective, the failure feels sudden. From the system's perspective, nothing changed. The system already saw where responsibility consistently landed. The failure just forced the system to apply what it already believed. Systems don't evaluate personality. They evaluate reliability. If behavior repeats, systems begin treating it as structural truth. Not because the systems are emotional, because systems are statistical. And if responsibility consistently resolves through the same individual, systems assign risk to that individual. Because predictable responsibility equals predictable risk absorption. And predictable risk absorption is what systems are built to model. Some of you are realizing something right now. Some of you have already experienced a moment where someone looked past the entity and looked directly at you. Some of you are running businesses right now where you feel separate on paper. But you know, operationally, if something really broke, you would personally step in. And none of that makes you irresponsible. None of that makes you reckless. Most of the time, it means you were trying to keep the business alive, trying to keep clients happy, trying to keep operations smooth. But the systems don't evaluate effort. They evaluate repeatability. Patterns don't form during crisis. They form during normal days, during routine decisions, during ordinary problem solving, during moments when nobody thinks they're making structural decisions. Every time authority overrides the entity, every time personal money stabilizes business pressure, every time decisions require personal approval instead of internal structure, a signal forms. One signal is noise. Repeated signals become expectation. Expectation becomes classification. And classification decides where systems believe that the risk lives. Pressure doesn't create structure. Pressure reveals it. If behavior under pressure matches behavior during normal operations, the systems assume that nothing structural has changed. That's why late structural corrections rarely change the outcomes because the systems trust long-term patterns more than recent adjustments. Now imagine a three-partner business. On paper, all partners have equal authority. On paper, decisions are shared. On paper, responsibility is distributed. But in practice, one partner always handles the final negotiations. One partner always resolves client conflicts. And one partner always steps in during financial pressure. Over time, systems stop evaluating three authority centers. They begin evaluating one. Not because paperwork changed, because behavior revealed where the real authority lived. Now imagine a fast-scaling company. Revenue grows fast. Team grows fast. Decisions happen faster than the structure adapts. Exceptions get made to move faster. Then more exceptions get made. Then exceptions become normal operating behavior. And once exceptions become normal, they stop being exceptions. They become structure. Behavior leaves patterns. And patterns create expectations. Expectations create classification. And classification decides liability. Not because systems want to be harsh, because systems must decide where the risk lives before the risk arrives. Most people think liability begins when something breaks. But most of the time, liability begins when behavior becomes predictable enough that systems stop questioning where responsibility lives. And most people never notice the moment that happens, because it feels like normal business. The real cheat code is not doing something special. It's understanding when systems decide what you are. Because once the systems decide, they build around that decision. And that decision rarely happens during crisis. It happens during calm, during normal operations, during routine days, moments that feel completely safe. That's where personal liability usually begins.